All right, will you hit the random again? Okay, Jayla, you get number 2. All right, so Jayla, how am I going to figure this out? What am I going to do? Why? $18 times what? Why? Okay, so I'm going to take 20%, convert it to the decimal equivalent, and that is 20 hundredths, which is the same as 2 tenths. So would 2 tenths also work? Yep. Okay, so 18 times 2 is 36, right? So the sweater is $36. Okay, first of all, that's wackadoo. No, it's not $36 because it's only $18 to start with. It didn't say you're going to pay double for it, right? But that is times 2, right? But it's not times 2, it's times 2 tenths. And so that's 36 cents. Jayla? Oh, it's 36 cents off, so it's $17.64. No. The only thing that makes any sense is it's $3.60 off, right? So the price off is $3.60. Now, if I just put that down on here, did I answer the question correctly? Yes. Did I answer this question correctly? No. What should I do instead? So I need to do this, right? And writing the word off makes it clear to the teacher that I'm answering the question. All right, number 3, let's do it together. It says, in a parking lot, 30% of the cars are white. Write this as a decimal. Nathaniel. How would I write that? He says this. Did anybody do this? Anybody do that? Right? Are they both correct? Yeah. All right. Let's try number 4. It says in 6th grade, 12 of 27 students have a pet. Okay? If there are 162 students, how many have a pet? How am I going to do that? So is that going to require some extra steps? Yep. So what's the first step? What's the first step? Yep.
The first step I did was I figured out if 27 went to 162 because that could help us a lot in the problem.
Okay. So let me ask you this question. So you're thinking about a percent? You thinking about a percent?
No, it wasn't.
No. You're actually thinking about, could I not just multiply that fraction times that number? Of course I can. Yeah. So this is a multiplying 162 times 12/27. So go ahead and try that. Now, could I make 12/27 more simple? Doesn't 3 go into both of those? I would like to use that because could I not do 162 times 4/9? Isn't that easier to multiply? Is that okay? Is 4/9 okay? Yeah, because 3 goes into 12 4 times, 3 goes into 27 9 times, okay? So multiply 162 once times 4/9. and see what you come up with. Can you cross simplify? Yep. If it would work. I don't know that it would. I don't know that 9 goes into 162 either. Without doing some thinking. It would. Yes, it would. Because 99 and 63. So yeah, it would. Sure would. That's what you did too, didn't it? Because 99 works and 63 works, and 99 and 63 and 62. Yep.
I did. So since I saw that 27 goes into 162 evenly, I just did. It goes into it 6 times. So I did 12 times 6.
Also works. There's another strategy. So there's 3 strategies. One is we get the percent of that fraction. 2 is we can get the decimal of that fraction. Jayla just realized 27 and 162 have a common factor. And we can do that, or we can just multiply this fraction. Taking the easiest route, which will be to multiply this fraction. So 9 goes into 162 how many times? 11 and 9, 20 times? No, that's not right. 18 times, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to say 18 over 1 times 4 over 1. 18 times 4. 18 times 4. Right? What do I get when I do 18 times 4? 72? So the answer is 72. Who got 72? So there are a lot of ways you can do that to get there. You all do understand what I did here, right? I just cross-simplified. Now, I could have worked that whole thing out, and I've still gotten 72. Raise your hand again if you got 72. All right. Let's do number 5. Number 5, it says New York received 62.51 or 62 and 51 inches of rain. In November, they received 25% of that rainfall. Again, super easy. Kylie, what am I going to do there?
So you take 62 and
100ths times.
And you do it times 25.
Times 25%.
Because the first half means decimal places, and then you multiply.
Yep. Now, let me ask you a question. Half of the rain would be 31, and half of that would be about 15. So I'm looking for something around 15 inches. Oh, could I just divide 4 into that? Could I also do that? Anybody agree with that? I could just divide 62.51 divided by 4. The answer is yes. Who can tell me why? Raise your hand when you're able to tell me why I could just divide 62 and 51 by 4. So I'm waiting to see hands when you have figured out what I just asked. So I'll wait to see. I'm asking for you to be able to explain why could I just divide by 4? Why could I just divide by 4? Madeline. Yep. So I could multiply by 1/4, or I could multiply by 25 same thing. But I also know that dividing by the reciprocal of 1/4 gives me the same answer. Because if multiplying by the reciprocal works to get the same answer as dividing, then it would work to divide by the reciprocal too, right? So the reciprocal of 1/4 is 4, right? So I could either multiply by 1/4 or divide by 4. Multiply by 1/4, or I could divide by 4. What's the easiest? What do y'all think's the easiest? Nathaniel. Multiply by 25 to me, divide by 4 is easier, but they're both okay. All right, so you could do either one. So if I ask you on a test to show me both steps, it would be 62.51, so it might bear writing this down. That would give me the answer. So would this. Would this give me the answer? Yep. And what about this? That's the one we're going to do, right? That would also give me the answer. So you've got one of three choices there for this particular problem. So I'm just going to go through here. 1, 2, 0, 5, 12. So now I'm gonna put my answer up here. 5, 7, 2, 6, 5, and 1. Okay, now what do I do with this number? Permita.
You round it to the nearest fifth.
Okay, so it's got to be, I'm multiplying hundreds times hundreds. That's 10 thousandths, isn't it?
Oh wait, first you have to put the decimal.
Yeah, I need a decimal in this number. It's not 156,275. We said it needed to be around $15, right? Or 15 inches. So that's the only thing that makes any sense, right? Why would it make sense to put it here? Why would it make sense to put it here? Wouldn't make sense. It's not 1 inch. No, so it's the only place it makes sense, right? And it said about how much rain did they receive? They received about 15 2/3, right? Or 15.6. Because it said about, so I could put about. Could I say about 16 inches? Now, if I were doing this, I'd say about 15.6. Because 15.6 is not but a little more than a 15 and a half, right? So I wouldn't say 16, I'd say 15 and a half or 15.6, because that's a better estimate. Because it said about, but I've got the real answer, so I'm going to give the real answer. Bonnie, sit up, please. All right, number 6. Number 6. Help me out, Fred. It says Sean has 12 comedies, should have an S on it. 15, well no, it's not. 12 comedy, 15 drama, and 9 action DVDs, because the S is on the DVDs. All right? Find the ratio of DVDs to total DVDs. Comedy DVDs to total.
1 to 3.
What?
1 to 3.
How'd you get that?
12. There's a total of 36 DVDs, and there's 12 comedy DVDs. So, and those divided by 4 is gives me both to the answer.
So it's 1 to 3, right? So is that a part whole or a part part?
A part whole.
Yeah. Great job. That's exactly right, Fred. No hesitation there. That's a part whole relationship because it said total number of comedy to all DVDs, right? This is why I knew it was part whole. Total number. This is part whole. Again, if you didn't write this down or you don't have this, I would say put it on your sheet. All right, number 7. Number 7. It says a football player signs a contract that pays him $16 million over 4 years. What is his average pay per year? Do I need a ratio here? Do I need a ratio here? Could I make a ratio?
Yeah.
I could, but I can just do a regular old division problem, right? Because that's what the ratio would turn out doing, right? So what's the division problem? So I could show this as a ratio. Yes? This? Could I do this? 16 million per 4 years. Right? Money per year. Remember, the per year is my unit rate. And that would be on the bottom. Jot that down too. Because the unit rate. Hey Lincoln, will you bring me your iPad please that you're on for some reason? All right. So again, does everybody understand why the 16 million's on top? If I want to know what is his rate per year, remember the unit rate number the unit rate value would have to be on the bottom to divide, right? To make it a division problem. So can I not just do this? So the answer is 4. If I put a 4 on there, I know what you mean, but that's not the answer, is it? If you wrote a 4, what is it, Chloe, you actually were meaning there?
Yeah.
4 million, right. So you need to write 4 million as your answer, right? Yep. Okay, last one, Graham. It says, last month Elvis increased his savings by 15... What? By 15... By 1,500%. So he's increasing it by 1,500ths of a percent. It's not 15%. Okay? It is not this. It is not that. Not. Okay? It is this. There's the decimal we're looking for, guys. Do you see why it's that? Anybody see why it's that? Okay? Because percent, Kimani, second time, sit up. Second time. Percent means 2 decimal places. Okay. So 2 decimal places on top of the 2 decimal places that are already there, right? So that. If you didn't get it, do you see now? They're trying to trick you. It says write that as a decimal. Okay. I guarantee you lots and lots of 6th grade kids would get that wrong. If that were a multiple choice, they'll have 0.15 on there as a choice and a bunch of people will check it off, won't they? Because they weren't paying close attention. That's easy to not pay attention and get tricked on that. How do we write that as a fraction? Easy. It's 15 somethings, isn't it? So it's not 1,500ths, it's 15. You made your mouth the right way. 10 thousandths. Right? It's 15 10,000ths. Okay? Can that simplify? Yes. Michaela, how's that going to simplify? 15 doesn't go into that, but 5 does, doesn't it? 5 does. So it's 3 whats? So it's 15 10,000ths, but it's 3. 5 goes into 10,000 how many times? 2,000ths. So the answer is it's 3 2,000ths in simplified form. I guarantee you lots of kids would miss that if left to do it really quickly and not check it. Definitely. All right, will you please slide that into the wire basket? Make sure your name was on it. Please make sure your name was on it. All right, Friday's homework was on what page?
367.
All right, so let's go to page 367. Okay, 367. So we were doing numbers 1 through 10. Is that the page? 367, 1 through 10?
And 1 of 368.
Right, okay. surprised I didn't say 367 to 368. Maybe I did. All right. So if I want to make number 1 true, Angelo, what am I going to do? To make number 1 true, what am I going to do? Okay, may I ask you guys to talk a little louder? Pretend like you're supposed to be talking in your team. That's a joke. Can you talk just a little bit louder so everybody can hear? So negative 2 is greater than negative 4. Why might a kid mix that up? Mason, what is a kid might do to mix that up?
They'll see that they think that 4 is greater than 2.
Yep.
But really it's just 2 steps back to 0.
Okay, that is a great explanation. That's a great job. Because they look at those positive numbers and go 4 is bigger, so 2 is less than. This is not positive. These are negatives. And what he just said is exactly right. This is 2 steps back from 0. This is 4 steps back from 0, so it's further back, right? That's a great explanation. Thank you. Okay, number 2. Number 2, Betty. 1 is greater than negative 3. Same trick, right? Correct? Same thing. Because 1 is 1 step from 0, but on the positive side, correct? 3 is 3 steps away in the negative land. Now, does one of them have a greater absolute value? Yeah. So what if I gave you this? What if I gave you this, Angelo? I would do a less than sign, right? Because I'm saying 1 step from 0 is less steps than 3 steps from 0, right? Now, is absolute value comparison talking about the value of the number? No, it's just simply talking about how many steps to get you back to the start line of the game, right? That's why the 0 board game thing was such a good example for that, because you got to win by having more positive points. But if I'm 6 steps back from 0, I got more steps to make than if I'm 2 positive from 0, right? This is 2 steps back, but that's 6 steps back. But it has nothing to do with the value. That player's losing at negative 6. This player's winning at positive 2. But this player has more steps to come back if I want to talk about the step amounts, right? That's all of absolute value is how many steps back to 0, either direction. Hope that helps. Okay, and then number 3, Kylie. 5 is?
5 is greater than 0.
These were all greater thans, right? Okay, write an inequality to compare the heights of the buildings in the basement and the roof of the house. So, James, number 4, it says the basement is negative 15 feet. It says the roof is 25 feet. So, how do I write that?
I wrote negative 15 absolute value plus 25 equals 40.
So, did it say we want to know the basement to the roof? Or do you just want to know which one's further from the ground?
I didn't completely understand the inequality.
All right. So an inequality is a greater than or less than. So write it at, so inequality, write this down, is greater than or less than. So if I hear write an inequality, so what's an equality? An equal sign, an equation. An inequality is an equation where you have it slanted. Because remember at camp, we were getting on that board and we were trying to keep it balanced. That's an equation. Well, an inequality is where I purposefully slant it and keep it at that exact slant. It's not a balance. It's slanted exactly a certain amount. So it's a greater than or a less than sign. There's where not knowing a vocabulary word, right, James, might get you confused, right? Yeah. So, with that being said, the basement floor is at -15. And the roof is at 25. Because it said write an inequality to compare the heights. Correct? So it's just that, right? Who got this? Who got that? Now, James, what you did was you found how much is the difference in them, right? You found 40. So from the basement floor all the way to the rooftop is 40 feet. And that's correct. Because it's 15 steps up to the ground, and it's 25 steps on up to the ceiling. So that's 40 total steps, right? Everybody agree? And I'm actually referring to feet in this case, not the literal steps on the stairs, unless they were exactly at 1 foot each. Right? Just think of feet. What about number 5? Help me with number 5, Josie. You're checking your paper, please.
It says the low temperature of Anchorage, Alaska, Monday was -9 degrees Fahrenheit.
Go ahead.
And on the same day, the low temperature in Flagstaff, Arizona was 26 degrees Fahrenheit.
All right. So 26 degrees. And that was in Flagstaff, Arizona. So did I write those temps right? Yes? Oh boy, I'm looking for you. I'm looking at the wrong place. All right. So how would I make that an inequality?
26 degrees Fahrenheit is greater than -150.
But the way I wrote it, I'd have to do that, right? Okay. Could I do this? Could I do this? If I put Flagstaff first and Anchorage second? So, are either one of those okay? Yeah, of course they are. Either one of those are okay. Either one of those is okay is the correct verb agreement. Language for free. All right, order these from least to greatest. Number 6. Number 6, Josiah.
3, 6, 15, 17.
So you said 3, and then you said 6, and then you said 15, then you said 17. You're like, didn't we do this in kindergarten? Did I leave one out?
Yes, 20.
Yeah. So let's do number 7. Natalia, what about number 7?
Negative 79.
Whoa. Negative 79 is less than.
Negative 55.
Yeah. Is less than.
18.
Okay. Is less than.
44.
Got it. And
101.
101.
And 143.
Yeah. Again, super easy. Number 8. The table indicates that Xavier's phone use over the last 4 months is listed. So what does it mean, negative 156? Well, we don't know yet. Positive values indicate the number of minutes he went over his allowed time. negative values indicate the number of minutes he was under. So if he was under, he used less minutes, right? If he was over, he used more minutes than his plan. Does it matter what his plan is? No. It's just saying he was under and over. Back when you used to have minutes, you all probably don't even remember that now. Used to, you had to pay, you had so many minutes for your phone to use it. Did you all know that? Yeah.
Like, we didn't have a-
Back in the old days.
Back in the old
All right.
days.
So in February, he was at 156 below his minutes. So is that the least talking he did? Yes? Yeah, of course it is. Okay, so negative 156. What month did he talk the second least amount? Kimani,
May.
which was at 45 minutes under his paid time. And Ashley, what month did he talk the next most? So we got February and May taken already on there. So here's February, here's May. Which month?
March.
So he was over 12 in March. What was he in April? So he exactly used his minutes. So which one did he use more minutes? March or April? Which one did he use more? Yeah, so that goes last, right? So doesn't April go next? And then March? Yes? Is that what you got? All right, let's look on page. Actually, text me on your device how many you missed of what we just went over. So, like, if you got them all right, put minus 0. If you missed one, put minus 1. So on the screen right here, I have page 375. So what would go in these missing boxes right here? Walk me through these missing boxes, please, Fred. So this is -1. What would go here?
What page are you on?
375.
Okay, at the very top.
So let's start at the bottom.
Okay.
So here's a -1.
0.
1 below. What goes here?
-8/10.
A -8/10. You'll jot that down. Okay, if you're not on the page, I need you on the page, 375. Get everybody on 375. Okay, so here's -1. Here's 8/10.
It's a negative.
There you go. -8/10. Liam, what's this? Look on the screen where I'm pointing. What's that? Uh-huh. Then what goes here, Fred?
-4/10.
-4/10. -2/10. 0. All right. Madeline, what goes after 0? 2/10. Sit up, Izzy. Thank you. Then I got 4/10. Angelo, then I got 6/10. And done. Right? Now, the only thing about this is, you're going, why? That's so super easy. You'd be surprised how quickly you'll get yourself mixed up when you're doing the decimal parts. when you're using decimals to talk about negatives. Okay. Now, by the way, we just crossed over from integers into what? So what is an integer again? I. Say one more time. So I'm going to write this word down. Counting or natural number and opposites. Right? And what else? And so it's all the counting numbers, their opposites, and what's in the middle? Yeah. And 0 as well. Now, does that include any fractions or decimals? No. When I want to include fractions and decimals, I'm actually talking about this now. Rational numbers. So that's all integers and the fractions in between. All right, so you might make a note of that. Rational numbers will be all your integers. And if I just say the word integers, you know it's all your counting numbers, their opposites, and 0, right? Because if I'm just saying counting numbers, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on. But if I'm talking about integers, it's all those counting numbers, their opposites, and 0. Now if I say rational numbers, well, that's all the integers, and that's add all the fractions in. If I say fractions, that means all the decimals, right? Everybody good with that? All right. Will you do number 1 and numbers 2 on page 376 by yourself? And then we're going to turn and talk. So if you'll take your pencil on page 376, and if you will do number 1 and 2 by yourself with your pencil, and then let's talk. Will you put 1 minute on the timer, please, Jayla? Finished, James? Yep. Finished. All right, Fallon, did you finish? Okay, are you almost finished? Okay, Liam, did you finish? All right, Michaela, did you finish? Okay, quickly finish. Lincoln, did you finish? Okay, will you bring yours up and show us what you got on the screen? You'll show us your number 1, please. Thank you. Let's see what we think about that. All right, so we want to model negative 2.4. So talk us through what you did there.
From the middle, so I marked that 0, and I put them 2, and then to the half, I put a line on the middle, 2 and 3, I put a negative 23, and then went one small
Little
above
smidge.
that,
Why above that?
because it's closest to
Perfect. Okay, great job. That's exactly right. Now, Lincoln, let me ask you some questions. Did you have to put the 0 right there? No. Yeah, that's fine. Could you put it somewhere else if you want?
You could put it anywhere, as long as it was
Right. Because of what? What gives you that permission? it has arrows going both directions. You'll see what he just did. It's going like this, and on and on and on. So he could have put his 0, well, he couldn't have put it right here, because he'd have had to, well, he could have, but then he'd have to squeeze in there. But, so yeah, okay, good job, thank you. Somebody else that's name is not selected that has something that looks different than that. Is that the only way it can look? Permita, you got something different? Can you come and let us see what that looks like? Do those number lines, do those little lines on the number line have to be 1s? Could they be 2s? Could they be less than 1? Speaking of, there's exactly what she did. Right? So, what you got there?
So mine starts at -1 and then it just goes like this.
Okay. So, I think I'm confused. Because you're going below 0, but you're going up. Did you get it backwards? Yeah. Okay. Will you go and fix your numbers and then come back? Okay. So, I think you pulled a Mr. P the other day. Remember I did mine backwards one time? Fallon, do you have something different?
Yeah.
Will you come show it? You'll come show it? Fallon has something different. And we want to see what it is. All right, Fallon, tell us what you got.
So 0, and then I did -0.4, and then I just kept adding 0.4.
Okay. So you allowed your marks to be what? 40 hundredths or 4/10?
Yeah.
Okay, that is super great. Look at that. That's awesome. She let every line be representing 4/10. So that means she put her 0 here. Is hers correct? It looks very different from Lincoln's. His was correct, but this is also correct. So look, she's got -4/10, -8/10, -1.2/10, -1.6, -2, -2.4. So why did you choose to do that?
Because I don't know, but it was the first way
So that's fantastic. Most kids don't do that. Most kids would let every one of them be a 10th or 2/10, not 4/10. That's fabulous. I love that. That's great. That's a great job. Okay, so look what she did again. That works. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Fowler. I love that. Does somebody have something even different? Ashley, let's see what you got. And then, Permita, you're going to bring yours back up. That you erased and reversed it. Okay. Okay, so Ashley, what you got?
I started at 2, and then at 5.
So -2, -2.1, -2.2, -2.3, -2.4, -2.5, right? Are the negative signs there?
I forgot.
Okay, so you want to jot those in, right? Do you have a pencil there? You can just stick those on. You'll put those negative signs on there. So where would 0 be if it were being put on there, Ashley? Would it actually be on that line? Very good, that's exactly right. It would be up here higher than the line, right? Because this would be -1.9, 1.8, 765. So 0 would be like up here, right? Y'all see that? Okay. Permita, will you show us yours again? Thank you. You tap in those names. There we go. All right. So now there's -1, -1.2, 1.4, 1.6, -1.8, -2, -2.2, -2.4, and then your answer would be. There's her -2.4. Everybody good on that? All right, let me have somebody that has not been up. Liam, will you come show us number 2? Show us your number 2. We want to see 1/10 marked on the number line. 1/10. You got it? All right. All right, so tell us what you got there.
I put 0 in the middle because that's where it usually is. Looks like,
Okay.
and then there's no negative sign, so it must be positive.
Uh-huh.
So I put it a small bit to the right.
So, because we want it, it's getting more and more, right? So that would be, this would be your what? 0?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's his 0, and then his 1/10 is a little bit, 1/10 of the way to the right. That means then your next line would be a 1. Okay, a 1, and then a 2, and 3, and 4. And the other side would be -1, -2. All right. All right. Go ahead and try number 3 and 4 by yourself. Go ahead and try number 3 and 4 by yourself.